If I had any, I don't know if it's a regret. I mean, I wish things had gone down a little different because I feel like I wish I would have gotten interested in it sooner. I feel like if I had hit that right when I came out of basic, when I got home and I was in my early 20s, and, it is probably the best physical shape I've ever been in my life. Not probably, I was in the best physical shape of my life. And if I had known then, I probably could have sought out a wrestling school, trained officially as a manager, and maybe my career would have went an entirely different direction as far as, who knows, maybe I could be in New York right now. Maybe I could be working, New Japan, Ring of Honor. Maybe I would have went a little bit further than not just because we've accomplished a lot of great things in the 14 and a half years that I've been involved with only SCW.
Absolutely.
But then I look back at it and it's like, if that had happened, a lot of other things would happen differently. I probably wouldn't have my wife right now. I wouldn't have had my daughter. I don't feel like I would have been where I'm at now, for better or for worse.
Okay.
So I don't know if I necessarily would change anything after reflecting on that comment. Does it sound good to go? Yeah, I made it to WWE and managed there, commentated there or whatever. Yeah, it does. But when I look at the big picture, I have no regrets.
Now, do you have any tips for any of the guys just starting out or thinking of getting into wrestling or being in the same shoes as you were at 19, 20 years old, thinking I'm not that big, I wouldn't be able to make it as a wrestler. Do you have any tips for those guys as far as like going forward in the company or in wrestling as a whole in other in other spots as either a manager or commentary?
First up, I would say absolutely find yourself a good school. If you're listening to this close, one of the best schools in the country, in my opinion, who just cranks out just a ton of talent, is the Black and the Brave. Only school right now, to my knowledge, that has a WWE superstar who's at the top of his game that's running that school. Eric Brave is one of the top trainers. I mean, that guy's brilliant. He knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about, and he can put together the psychology of a match just as well as anybody. So, absolutely do it right. Get to school. I got in at a time when wrestling was different. Basically, I got in what at one time was wrestling was a yarder fed.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't wrestle in a yard, and like I said at the beginning, took the elevator to the top. I got lucky. Most promotions aren't going to let you start off that way anymore. There's too many liabilities. Too many promotions have too much pride. So do everything the right way. You know what? If you're 120 pounds and you want to do it, do it. There's a time now that I didn't have the advantages where it's like there's all kinds of supplements. There's CrossFit. There's different diets, nutritionists, different people who can give you the idea on how to put the size on. The wrestlers today, they're not the size of Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. A lot of the guys are smaller. You put on lean muscle and whatever, you can. There's a lot of guys in SCW right now who aren't big, aren't bulky, but are more than capable with a ton of talent.
Yeah.
Just do things the right way. Don't be discouraged by your lack of size. That could come with time, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Just because you're small doesn't mean you don't even necessarily have to be a wrestler. Be a commentator, be a ref, contribute. One of the best examples I can give right now, as far as somebody who's very passionate and works hard to get out there and get involved in this business that he loves so much, is Alex McCarthy. Current ring announcer for SCW, a lot of other promotions, done some commentary, does a lot of podcasting. That guy pounds the pavement. He works for 3XW. He's done some work for Funky Monkey. He shows up early, sets up the ring, pays his dues, runs to Office Max for flyers, works really, really hard at what he does. And that's what you got to do, is just show them how passionate you are, how much you want it, and be willing to put the work in and make the sacrifices.
Absolutely. Well, I think we are coming to the end of this interview. I know we got to get you out of here. Heading to Des Moines later today.
Yes, I'm heading to Des Moines. I'm taking my youngest son to Raw. So that'll be a lot of fun. He's very excited. I surprised him with it the other day that I had gotten tickets. He didn't think we were going to be going.
Yeah.
So I told him I wanted to take him, and I didn't think it was going to be a possibility. And then the very next day, I surprised him with tickets. So it'll be fun.
Well, with this weather coming in on us, I wish you guys a safe trip up there. Just be careful. I know the weirdos like to come out in this mess. So, and I don't think you're one of them. So,
well, I appreciate that sentiment.
I didn't want to lump you in with the other weirdos. You are a specific kind of weirdo.
No, thank you. I pride myself in that.
Well, thank you for joining me on the first episode of the Therapy is a Joke podcast. Again, thank you guys for listening. If you guys would like to follow Mark on Twitter, he's on Twitter at @TheMarkStorm. If you'd like to follow the podcast, we are on Twitter at @therapy_is. Up there. We also have a Facebook page coming here soon, so I'll be able to update everybody on the podcast episodes coming up. Hopefully we're going to have a lot more interviews for you to keep you guys interested. Again, thank you, Mark, for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be your first guest.
Very first. So thank you guys again for tuning in and giving us your ear for a little bit, and we will check you all later.